right, so this low guy goes after Elon, saying he's going to make Trump's life miserable. What do you think about this?
I think a lot of things. So the first thing I think about is it's not really right to kiss and tell, right? There's a lot of things that those of us that work with Elon know about him. There's a lot of things people know about us that work with us. We don't go to the media and talk about it. So, this sort of sets a low bar for this guy's credibility and sort of his morals. So the second thing is, if you do just a little bit of cursory research on Filippo, and I never heard of him before this, I read this article this morning, and he's pretty clearly a leftist. He's from Canada. He's even, it's very clear, he's donated to U.S. political parties and political campaigns, which is illegal. And he's a tool of the leftists, right? And so it's no wonder that somebody like Politico would stoop low enough to go after this guy. It's as low as it gets. Now, on the other hand, would Elon do this? Maybe, but I kind of doubt it. Like you said, he's very smart. Elon will always be trusted to do what's in Elon's best interest. And this country is very important to him because his whole entire being is about settling Mars, believe it or not, but that's what it is. And he needs this country to settle Mars. So he jumped on the Trump bandwagon, I think, because he figured it would better his chances of making Mars happen. So is he a patriotic, loyal American? Yeah. Do I think he'll go after Trump? Not a chance. I mean, what he did was really stupid. I sat and with my jaw wide open when he took him on, what was that, a month ago? And I think that was, a ketamine moment. That's the only explanation I can come up with.
I think that Elon Musk probably was frustrated by government. And this was one of my concerns, that when you're a CEO, as you know, Jim, you're in charge. You get to make the call. People have to snap to it. In government, it doesn't really work that way. You can make the call, and then you hope it goes at a fast pace, and it rarely ever does, Jim.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it, Grant. When Elon started joining up with Trump, I said to my wife, this isn't going to go well. He's going to finally encounter the kind of people that can and will defeat him, because, politicians are slippery creatures. And sure, there are some good ones, but most of them are just very self-interested, slippery creatures that are going to block him at every step. The bureaucrats behind him, there's a whole army of these people. So I mean, these are the real criminals, right, in the world. It reminds me of that scene out of Good Shepherd where, one of the acting CIA guys goes to a mafia guy and says, hey, look, we're going to deport you, since you immigrated here 65 years ago, unless you help us out. It's that kind of stuff that goes on. And I think Elon's finally discovered really how tough dealing with the government truly is.
Let me read one more quote from this Politico article. Of course, the left jumped on this. The only reason I'm doing this is to counteract the damage the left's trying to do on all this. Politico writes, Elon has wooed enough Trump. Philip Lowe said to Politico that Elon has wooed enough of Trump supporters to be an actual threat politically. You summed it up when you said this guy's a leftist. He doesn't understand Trump supporters. MAGA Republicans, I am one of them, are wildly loyal to President Trump. I think we will cut Elon some slack when President Trump says, cut him some slack. We're grateful to the work that Elon does. But Elon's not stealing Trump supporters from President Trump, and I'll give you the last word, Jim.
Yeah, so Dr. Lowe looks at the world in sort of his own echo chamber, and as we know, the left is very big on that. I'll give you the perspective as a libertarian. I'm not a Republican, and while I'm not necessarily a MAGA guy, I really like what Trump's doing, and I think those of us that are liberty-minded see it the same way. And I would say more broadly, the American people really respect what the man's done. He came to this country with not a lot of money, and he started a lot of companies, one of the greatest entrepreneurs I think this world has ever seen. And I don't say that lightly because I have my differences with him. But, people see him for what he is and not for what the left tries to make him out to be. Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's great insight, Jim Cantrell. I appreciate you coming on and sharing it with us. Thank you, as always.